Welcome. Tonight, more brainstorming on how to end the hydra-headed insecurity as Northern Governors Forum, traditional rulers meet in Kaduna, ask the National Assembly to expedite action on state police. Former Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo advocates for service-oriented leadership in politics and governance. And President of ECOWAS Commission Omar Torres says proper documentation will strengthen the protocol on the free movement of goods and services amongst member states of the sub-regional body.
And on business news, Nigeria's stock market records a strong weekly gain as the all-share index adds over 2,000 points, up 2.54%.
On sports news tonight, Barcelona boss Hansi Flick calls on his players to brush off the Champions League semi-final exit and bounce back strongly against bitter rival Real Madrid in a vital El Clasico match tomorrow.
The Northern Governors Forum and the Northern Traditional Rulers Council are calling on the National Assembly to expedite action on the enactment of a legal framework for the creation and takeoff of state police to tackle the security challenges confronting the country. The call was made at a meeting of the two bodies in Kaduna State. The Governor of Gombe State, Mr. Inuwa Yahya, who is the chairman of the forum, and the host governor, Uba Sani, stressed the need for states to step up action against insecurity, poverty, rising number of out-of-school children, and other socio-economic challenges affecting the region.
This is the first joint meeting of the Northern Governors and Traditional Rulers this year, with 14 governors in attendance and the Sultan of Sokoto, His Eminence Alhaji Sahad Abubakar, leading key traditional rulers to the meeting. Top on the agenda for the meeting is the lingering insecurity bedeviling the region, poverty, rising number of out-of-school children, and other socio-economic challenges confronting the region.
This unacceptable reality.
In his welcome remarks, the host, Governor Basani, calls for collaborations to tackle the challenges.
Millions of our people are trapped in cycles of destitution, with insecurity driving displacement and economic paralysis. This unacceptable reality demands more than rhetoric. It requires decisive, united, and sustained action. I must respectfully and sincerely implore this distinguished forum to prioritize poverty alleviation and strengthening of security conditions across the states in the north as inseparable pillars of any meaningful development agenda.
The meeting condemns the renewed killings in the region and calls for concrete steps to address the challenges in the region.
This mindless act of violence against innocent citizens reminds us of the urgent need to redouble our security efforts and ensure that adequate security measures are vigorously implemented for the safety of our people. While we commend Mr. President for his sustained commitment to Nigeria's security, we must acknowledge the recent setbacks in our efforts to combat insecurity and other social vices. The resurgence of Boko Haram activities in some parts of the northeast and the outbreak of violent killings in the north central call for immediate review of strategies and greater synergy between the federal, state, and local security architecture.
There have been killings all over the north. There have been killings in Benue. There have been killings in Plateau. There have been killings in Niger. There have been killings in Sokoto, in Kebbi, and all parts of the country. And I believe when we are talking of killing anywhere, to disturb us and talk about killing everywhere. No particular place is more important than the other, because one single life of one human being is important to all of us.
The meeting agrees to set up a joint security patrol for the region and calls for immediate enactment of legal framework for the creation of state police.
Forum resolved to liaise with the Nigeria Governors Forum to work out modalities of how to increase support to the federal security agencies and forces. Forum also resolved to urgently set up interstate platforms to coordinate surveillance on our joint borders. The forum also reiterated its support for the creation of state police and call on the National Assembly to expedite action on the enactment of the legal framework for its takeoff.
The governors are expected to implement actionable plans to catalyze growth and development for the region.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu is impressed with the military's operations in tackling insecurity and has encouraged them to do more to curb banditry across the country. The Minister of Defense, Mr. Mohammed Abubakar, made the statement during a visit to Kebbi State to assess military operations and discuss ways to strengthen security efforts in the northwest region.
The visit of the Minister of Defense to Kebbi State begins with an inspection of guards at the Duku Barracks in Birnin Kebbi. After the inspection, the minister holds a strategic meeting behind closed doors with top security officials in Kebbi to evaluate the security situation and the successes recorded so far. The minister's delegation also visited the Kebbi State Government House, where he meets state government officials behind closed doors. Briefing journalists after the meeting, the Minister of Defense commends the Nigerian Army for its role in enhancing security, particularly in curtailing the Lakurawa bandits in the region.
Well, I come to discuss their operations, what they have been doing, bring a message from the President of thanks. President is appreciative of what the troops are doing in the country, and specifically in Kebbi. And with the threat of Lakurawa, they have done so well, and he asked me to encourage them to do more so that we block the Lakura's development in the country. So let us finish them at this stage and from here. And the military leadership confirmed to me that they will not rest on their oars until they flush out Lakurawas and keep Kebbi and Nigeria safe.
He also expressed appreciation to the Kebbi State government for its continued support and cooperation with security agencies.
I have blown my trumpet yesterday, and your governor confirmed to the world that security situation have improved, not only in Kebbi State, but in Nigeria, vis-a-vis what used to be in 2023. So we are not saying that we have ended insecurity, but we are saying that we are improving gradually, slow, but steady. We will end it, and we'll end it, inshallah.
With the minister's visit, the federal government is reaffirming its commitment to improving security and fostering economic growth in the region.
As part of efforts to ensure better working conditions for officers and men of the force, the police has unveiled the second edition of its awards and commendations, scheduled to hold in Abuja on June the 4th. Addressing a news conference, the Force Public Relations Officer, Muyiwa Adejobi, says the initiative is aimed at recognizing and rewarding exceptional acts of bravery, professionalism, integrity, and excellence. He adds that it forms part of a broader policy thrust to enhance personnel motivation, welfare, and operational efficiency.
The hosting of the Nigeria Police Awards and Commendations ceremony is a part of a more comprehensive response package aimed at improving personnel overall welfare and motivation. This includes steady and significant improvement in housing and working conditions across all police commands and formations. It also includes the emplacement of a credible and transparent reward system which will identify, recognize, and honor acts of honesty, gallantry, dedication, patriotism displayed by our officers. This platform will provide an opportunity for officers to be recognized and rewarded for their exceptional dedication and performance without relying solely on special promotions. The IGP envisions a renewed sense of pride and dedication among police officers, as they know their hard work and dedication will be acknowledged and celebrated appropriately.
The Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 10, comprising Sokoto, Kebbi and Zamfara State, Mr. Goyon Grima, has charged officers under the Zamfara State Police Command to double their efforts in tackling the security challenges. He made the call during his maiden visit to the command's headquarters in Gusau, the state capital.
The Assistant Inspector General of Police, Mr. Gyogon Grima, arrived in the Zamfara State Police Command headquarters for the first time since assuming office as AIG in charge of Zone 10. He is received by senior officers and inspects the quarter guard before proceeding to the conference hall. In his remarks, the State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Ibrahim Mekaba, appealed for enhanced operational equipment, stressing the importance of improved mobility, communication gadgets, and continuous intelligence sharing.
The command is confronted by enormous challenges that affect the existing security arrangement in the state, notable among which are daily and periodic transfer of officers out of the command without replacement has greatly depleted the strength of the command, thereby making our crime-fighting strategy and efforts to be very, very ineffective. Insufficient body armor, that is bulletproof jackets, expose our operational officers and men to imminent danger of being injured or killed during operations. The command communication apparatus is in state of total disrepair. The repeaters have completely broken down. There is no connectivity between the divisions and the control room, which makes the police response to distress call very, very ineffective.
Addressing officers of the command, the Assistant Inspector General of Police emphasized the need for renewed commitment and professionalism in confronting the persistent security threats facing Zamfara State.
My main reason of coming here is to encourage all of us. We need encouragement. Even if the CP did not read his own speech, C-Reps from Zamfara State are always heartbeat. And behold, all of you are here to curtail such situations. You don't need marching orders. You already have marching orders around you, through of us. You already have instructions to go all out and do what you are supposed to do.
The officers consider the visit as a morale booster as the leadership of the force continues to demonstrate its commitment to strengthening internal security in the region.
To other matters now, service-oriented leadership in politics and governance is crucial as a nation's greatness is measured by how it treats its most vulnerable citizens. The former Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, made this call while delivering the keynote address at the Rotary International District Conference in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, on the topic, The Magic of Connection, the Imperative and Privilege of Service. He stressed that governance must be centered on providing essential services such as quality education, accessible healthcare, and a robust social security system, which is the basic right of every citizen.
This privilege that we have as the elite in our societies is not a badge of superiority. It is a debt that we owe to our societies. It comes with enormous responsibility, and the only honest way to repay it is through service. There is no great nation that at one point in time or the other in its history has not had to have leaders, an elite that says we must put service to our country over our personal agendas and well-being. It is this idea that politics or governance must be for the common good that led to many nations establishing human capital development programs, education for all, healthcare, insurance, social housing, etc., social security schemes. So free education, for example, universal healthcare are not just policy choices. They are reflections of selfless and visionary leadership. In many countries, These systems were built by leaders who saw governance not merely as a tool for power, but as a moral obligation to uplift society, especially the most vulnerable.
In part two, after the break, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, advocates media literacy for all as a tool for tackling fake news and misinformation. That's in a moment. Do stay with us. Yes, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channel Television. A reminder of our top stories. More brainstorming on how to end the Hydra-headed insecurity as Northern Governors Forum traditional rulers meet in Kaduna asked National Assembly to expedite action on state police. Former Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo advocates the enthronement of service-oriented leadership in politics and governance. And President of ECOWAS Commission, Omar Torre, says proper documentation will strengthen the protocol on the free movement of goods and services amongst member states of the sub-regional body. And India and Pakistan accuse each other of violations following a ceasefire deal they reached earlier today. The protocol on the free movement of goods and services under the ECOWAS trade liberalization scheme does not eliminate the need for proper documentation. The president of the ECOWAS Commission, Mr. Omar Torre, made this clarification during an official assessment of the Lagos-Seme border, which is one of the busiest and most strategic land corridors in the West African sub-region. Our correspondent, Victoria Longjohn, has this report.
The Seme border is a significant land crossing between Nigeria and the Republic of Benin, situated in the Badagry division of Lagos State. It lies along the coastal route connecting Lagos to Cotonou in Benin Republic. The border serves as a vital gateway for trade and travel between Nigeria and other West African nations, facilitating the movement of trade and contributing to the region's economic activity. However, the corridor has been fraught with several challenges, such as numerous illegal checkpoints, extortion, smuggling activities, inadequate infrastructure, and neglect. The ECOWAS Free Movement Protocol, adopted in 1979 as a cornerstone of regional economic integration, aimed at creating a borderless West Africa where citizens can trade, invest, and seek opportunities across member states. Therefore, in a proactive stance to evaluate how well the provisions of the ECOWAS Protocol on Free Movement is being applied in real time, the President of the ECOWAS Commission, Mr. Omar Torre, and his entourage make a 200-kilometer drive from Lagos to the Seme border. Along the corridor, the entourage makes the first stop at Baji checkpoint in Badagry for an interaction with commuters and some security agencies manning the borders.
We have been looking for this type of opportunity, but we don't have backup.
The team is then received at the Seme border by officials of the customs and immigrations from Nigeria and Benin Republic. The team then inspects the immigration process and takes a tour of the infrastructure at the border. The president of the commission also engages with the officials who enumerated some of their challenges.
There are things that human beings cannot see, scanners can see. Because when you are bringing cattle from a truck, you cannot, what you do is sample examination, random examination. You cannot open all the cartons. And drugs can be hidden in those cartons. Those ones you did not open. The scanners will see them. Number one border in Nigeria, Abuja corridor, that connects the whole of French-speaking countries. don't have connected to the national grid. It's even Benin that is giving us light.
We have the phone numbers of the human traffickers. How do we lay our hands? I'm begging that the situation should be created where we could further synergize in tracking those people down to their hidden places.
In response, the ECOWAS president called on border security officials and the national authorities to align with ECOWAS protocols and pledge to deliver recommendations towards addressing all cross-border obstacles.
We should go beyond these charges of being asked to pay money without receipts. If there are any payments to be done, those payments should be officially receipted. When we say free movement of people and goods, we are not saying any type of good should enjoy the ECOWAS trade liberalization scheme. We are talking about community produce.
This visit by the ECOWAS president to the Seme-Krake border is particularly significant as it gives him a first-hand experience of how the free movement protocol is being implemented. Amongst other things the ECOWAS president is urging for is the need for proper documentation for persons plying these routes, as he believes this will help enhance the regional integration agenda of the ECOWAS. From the Seme-Krake border, Victoria Longjon, Channels Television News.
Media literacy is a crucial tool for tackling fake news and misinformation in the country. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mr. Mohammed Idris, made this known on the sidelines of a forum for young people jointly organized by TEDx and the Tulip International College in Abuja. According to him, media literacy will enable citizens to verify information before posting or sharing them in order to be internet smart.
It is a great passion to be a journalist or to be a citizen journalist. I think that we need to support all and sundry, especially our young ones who want to carve out a career in that path. But it's also important for them to know that as they go along, they need to imbibe media literacy, media information literacy, because they need that. That is the only tool that they require to discern between fake news and real news, between misinformation and information. You need that because in this age, the social media especially can both be a unifier and also an agent of destruction, depending on how you use it. We want everyone to use the social media especially, which has come to stay, by the way, as a tool for unifying all of us, for progress, for development of our country and of the world generally, not a tool for destruction.
The Media CEO's workshop in Lagos wrapped up with powerful conversations centered on collaboration, innovation, and the sustainability of journalism. The closing session marked the culmination of a 4-day pan-Nigerian engagement that began in the nation's capital, Abuja, for media CEOs in the north, before moving to Lagos for the southern edition. The workshop, organized by Channels Academy in partnership with the United States Diplomatic Mission to Nigeria and the GSM Foundation, created a platform for industry stakeholders to engage in frank talks and explore solutions for the future of media in the country.
Thank you very much indeed.
It's the second and final day of the Media CEOs workshop in Lagos, and participants dive straight into the conversations. The morning kicks off with a powerful session on fostering collaborative journalism, from newsroom alliances to cost-sharing strategies and even joint press coverage.
Whatever it takes, you guys need to work together, because that is what will, again, lift all boats. So I challenge you to take this seriously, to find the common pain points. Of course, everybody won't agree. That's life. But if the majority of people will do it, I think you'll really see some change.
But the discussions didn't stop there. The agenda for the day is rich, exploring fresh revenue models, funding options, and what the future holds for local news, regulation, and big tech's growing influence.
We need to look at new advert streams. Meta is a problem. Yeah, where they are fighting Nigeria, but they are paying the fines in other countries. They are a disruptor. But do we see them as a disruptor, or do we see them as another platform for us to further explore our content? And that's where the YouTube monetization comes in. That's where our podcasts come in.
Is there in the Constitution holding government accountable? There's also the social responsibility angle of it. You're looking for something, you're looking for someone gets missing, you rush to the media, please help us. It takes money to put that information out on air or on print. So but the most important one here is actually the business one. Because if you're not operating, if you're not printing, if you're not on air, you cannot give those services. So first of all, we have to exist as a business.
That sparks strong reactions across the room as media leaders reflect on how partnerships could change things for everyone. The workshop has been both eye-opening and affirming, with one message standing out: collaboration is no longer optional.
A lot of us are in different geopolitical zones. If I produce sports content, I can distribute to practically every station because we all have different audiences. It's not the same audience.
There could be cross-sector collaboration. That's media and print broadcast collaboration. There can be, somebody used the word convergence, which is true. So we can find a way in terms of content sharing, find a way of doing it and be profitable by it.
For the organizers, Channels Academy and the United Nations mission, the insights gathered over these 2 days are valuable and timely.
The industry has been disrupted, and there have been so many changes, and times have changed. And therefore, the media industry is deeply, deeply impacted. And so we thought that this was about time that we had media CEOs come into a room to try and discuss ways to innovate so that their businesses would continue to thrive and stay alive.
2 days of honest conversations, shared struggles, and bold ideas, all centered on building a more innovative, sustainable media landscape.
I think we have a few names.
As the curtains draw, the hope is that this is just the beginning of deeper collaboration across Nigeria's media space.
Ahead on the news at 10, Nigeria's stock market records a strong weekly gain as the all-share index adds over 2,000 points, up 2.54%. That's on Business News. Do join us again. Welcome back. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike, has implored residents to take ownership of the infrastructure being provided by the President, which is targeted at improving the quality of life in the FCT. Mr. Wike, who went round inspecting projects built for commissioning to mark the second anniversary of the President's administration, urged Abuja residents to always be vigilant against those who want to destroy these facilities.
Well, we have always said that people should own projects. People should make sure that this is for them, and therefore they should make sure it is protected. They should be vigilant in seeing that those whose only motive is to destroy. It's not easy to build, but it's easy to destroy. So we urge residents to be vigilant in order to make sure that people who are not happy in anything will not destroy what they have. But for us, we'll do everything we can to so that the infrastructure provided is being protected and the sustainability of it is there. More roads will be going on in the city. More renovations of schools will be going on in the city. Particularly, security will be improved. I mean, that's what we owe to the people of Abuja.
Africa's richest man, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, is urging the private sector to invest more in education as a strategy to reduce the growing number of out-of-school children in the country. He made the call during his investiture as the Chancellor of the Aliko Dangote University of Science and Technology in Kano State. Our correspondent, Sadiq Ilyasu, has more.
It's a momentous occasion at the Aliko Dangote University of Science and Technology, Wudil, as Africa's richest man and chairman of Dangote Group, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, is officially installed as the chancellor of the institution. Following his investiture, the newly appointed chancellor announced a donation of 15 billion naira through the Aliko Dangote Foundation.
Over the next 5 years, we will commit, the Dangote Foundation will commit the sum of 15 billion naira to the following projects. One is the design and construction of additional students' hostels. Number two, the design and construction of a world-class engineering lab.
He reveals that the foundation had already offset the university's electricity bill, effectively solving its energy challenge, and called on other private sector players to join in addressing national educational gaps.
Through Aliko Dangote Foundation, we were able to offset the university's electricity bill in order to ease strain on their finances. But I also ask that we, the private citizens, do more to help the government in increasing the enrollment of our children in schools, especially those between the ages of 7 to 14 years, so they have the appropriate foundation that prepares them for the very competitive world that we live in today.
In his remarks, the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Musa Tukur, acknowledged the support of the Kano State government. He explains that Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf had cleared a backlog of liabilities amounting to over 3 billion naira, an intervention that has helped to keep the institution running smoothly.
On my assumption duty about 2 months ago, we've inherited a liability of almost 3 billion naira. But as I'm speaking to you, ladies and gentlemen, about the last 6 months, His Excellency Alhaji Abba Kabir Yusuf has paid the sum of 2.1 billion to offset the liabilities owned by this university.
The ceremony also marked the Chancellor's first official function, the conferment of degrees to fresh graduates.
He is the overall best graduating student.
The Chancellor has announced automatic employment to this overall. Congratulations.
Honorary degrees were also conferred on prominent Nigerians, Nahiru Mangal, Prince Arthur Eze, and Mustafa Ado in business administration. Ahmed Raj SAN and former Governor Rabiu Musa Konkoso were also conferred with degrees in law and science.
I congratulate all of you on behalf of the awardees. I wish you well, and I want to assure you that our names is very much attached to the university, this very university. And we will do everything possible to support the university. We will do everything possible to support anybody who graduates from this university, because it is our university.
Governor Abba Yusuf reiterates his administration's commitment to education, vowing to continue prioritizing the sector in the state.
This university is a legacy project and a symbol of excellence, not only to Kano State, but to Nigeria as a whole. I want to assure you, members of the university community, that our administration remains deeply committed to strengthening the institutional capacity and academic standards of this university.
The colorful event reflects a renewed drive for educational advancement powered by strategic partnership and philanthropic support. Sadiq Ilyasu, Channels Television News.
For politics now, the ruling All Progressive Congress APC in Lagos State has elected candidates to fly its flag in the local government poll. The primary election, which held at the party secretariat in Oba, produced chairmanship candidates for the 20 local government areas and the 37 LCDAs. Accreditation started around 8 a.m. and ended at 12 noon, after which voting commenced proper. During the exercise, the Deputy Governor, Mr. Femi Hamzat, advised delegates to be peaceful and orderly, while the chairman of the Lagos APC Electoral Committee, Mr. Babatunde Ogala, informed delegates that local governments with consensus candidates would be allowed to affirm their candidates. In April, the Lagos State Independent Electoral Commission had released a timetable and guidelines for the commencement of the electoral process for the 57 council chairmanship seats and the 376 councilship positions.
Our leader, our father, who is from Lagos State, is monitoring what we are doing, because this is a state. And we know we take our grassroots people very serious. And that's why all of us are here. We know that development of Lagos starts from the local government. So that's why we must thank you very much for coming out, for representing our party at all parts of the state. As we are calm like this, let's be calm. We will go in, LASEC has seen the process. We go in, we do our voting peacefully, we will count, and everybody will go.
They say 51 is pass back, or 50 in some cases, or even sometimes 40. And if we had conducted 57, and we had grumbles from about 3, 4, 5, I think I would say even if it was 10, that would still have given us as much as 80%. In Yaba and Lagos mainland, I am conscious of the fact that in those two local governments, there are some unresolved issues within the two local governments. And like you heard, we expected them to be here and they were absent. Of course, we would do our report to the party. And as a committee, we will also review the situation and look at the best way going forward to have them participate in the forthcoming local government elections.
Part of efforts to ensure regional food security, the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, has announced plans to work with the Lagos Food Hub in the areas of food production, process and supply. The NDDC Executive Director of Projects, Mr. Victor Aktai, disclosed this when he led a team from the Commission on a tour of the Logistics Food Hub in Ekwe local government area of Lagos State. He said the partnership will lead to the effective use of the various agricultural belts in the Niger Delta.
This is the Logistics Food Hub, the largest in Nigeria, sitting on 420 hectares of land in Ekpe local government area of Lagos State. This 5 million ton food collection, processing, standardization and supply hub under construction is expected to revolutionize food storage in Nigeria. The NDDC Executive Director Projects, Mr. Victor Antai, in company of the Commission's Director of Agriculture, Director of Finance and Supply, as well as staff of the Interventionist Agency, are here on a tour of the facility with a view to explore partnership opportunities. The chairman of the Origin Group, Mr. Prince Samuel, says the facility, which is expected to be completed in December this year, will eliminate the uncertainties associated with production for farmers in the country and help improve their productivity.
For the first time, we are having capacity to store 5 million tons of food in Lagos. And as you are aware, Lagos produces merely about 20% of what it eats. And the aim is that through this hub, we can encourage the development or a transition from 20 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 80. And it is possible because we can aggregate the right data through this hub, which is not currently available, is scattered. And at the same time, we can also help existing producers in Lagos to scale.
The NDDC Executive Director of Projects is also optimistic that partnership with the Food Hub will bring to life the various agricultural belts in the oil-rich Niger Delta.
This place is elaborate, and from what we've read about them and from what we've heard about them, and the little talk we've made of this gigantic project, first in Nigeria, we are convinced that they are the people that the Niger Delta should be talking with when it comes to food production and food sustainability and food security in the Niger Delta region.
He adds that the NDDC remains committed to exploring opportunities for food sustainability for residents of the region.
What I have seen so far, I am encouraged to take this partnership from this site visit to more robust talks and negotiations on the table. And then by the time this is done, the Niger Delta region will be better off from where we are. We'll rise from the level of subsistence. That's what we have in the Niger Delta region as we speak. We are at the subsistence level. By the time we come into this partnership, and with the drive of the managing director of the NDDC, Dr. Samuel Boboku, to make sure that the Niger Delta region is well fed.
The NDDC team also visited the mini food hub in the Mushi area of Lagos State to ascertain its functionality.
Let's get the latest from the world of business. Ladi Williams is here.
Thanks, Melinda. Well, in business news, Nigeria recorded over 119,000 data breaches in the first quarter of 2025, and that's according to the latest global data breach report from cybersecurity firm Surfshark, which places Nigeria 34th worldwide for the number of breach accounts. Despite the high number, the situation is improving. The report shows that Nigeria experienced an 85% drop in data breaches compared to the previous quarter. Part of a broader global trend. Worldwide, leaked accounts fell by 93% year-on-year, dropping from nearly 974 million in the first quarter of 2024 to just over 68 million in Q1 2025. Analysts say the decline could reflect stronger cybersecurity measures and fewer large-scale attacks during the period. And to the markets now, we see the all-share index close the week on a high, gaining 2.54% to settle at 108,733 points, marking the highest weekly close in a while. Trading volume rose significantly with 2.6 billion shares exchanged, up 20% from the previous week. Sectoral performance was strong across the board. Consumer goods index led with a 5.41% jump, driven by big gains in Cadbury, Northern Nigeria flour mills, and Dangote sugar. Oil and gas index rose 3.98%, led by Wando, and the banking index advanced 3.09%, lifted by Sterling Bank and GT.co. To the top performance now, we see Multiverse Mining soared 57.48%. Academy Press rose 50.52%. To the biggest declines, we see Abe Mortgage Bank that fell 15.66%, while Mayor PLC dropped 13.51%. Analysts at investment firm Cordros anticipate a more cautious trading environment in the coming week, with the potential for selective stock picking alongside profit taking from the recent rally, as investors seek to lock in gains amid the absence of significant positive catalysts to sustain the current momentum. And Nigeria's gross external reserves rose for the second consecutive week, increasing by $86.67 million on a week-on-week basis to reach $38.10 billion as of May the 6th, 2025. And that's according to the Central Bank of Nigeria. Analysts say the modest uptick in reserves reflects improved inflows, likely stemming from increased oil-related earnings, remittances, and foreign portfolio investment, amid continued efforts by the government to restore macroeconomic stability. The growth in reserves offers a slight buffer for the CBN's ongoing interventions in the foreign exchange market, especially as the Naira remains under pressure. And oil prices settled nearly 2% higher for the last trading day of the week and notched their first weekly gain since mid-April as a U.S. trade deal with the United Kingdom turned investors optimistic ahead of the talks between top officials from Washington and Beijing. Brent crude futures settled at $63.91 a barrel, while U.S. WTI crude that closed at $61.02. Both benchmarks rallied over 5% this week, and analysts also attribute rising hostilities in the Middle East also boosted oil prices this week. Keeping a ceiling to oil price gains, this was the planned increase to oil output by the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies, known collectively as OPEC+. And the digital currency market also had a stellar week as Bitcoin kicked off the week about $94,000, now trading over $103,000, rising over 7% this week. Ethereum and other altcoins were not left out as the second largest cryptocurrency added over 34%. Over the past days, Ethereum has outperformed Bitcoin and other major coins. On Wednesday, Ethereum successfully implemented its Spectra upgrade. This was the network's third major upgrade since the merge in 2022, when it switched from a proof-of-work consensus process to proof-of-stake. And that's it from me on business. I hand things over back to Melinda.
Many thanks, Adi. After due consultations with security operatives in Borno State, the governor, Professor Babagana Zulum, has ordered for an immediate ban on the sale of petrol in filling stations across Bama local government area, including Bama Town and Banki. The governor said the ban is aimed at addressing the prevailing security challenges in Borno State. A statement by the Special Advisor to the Governor on Media, Mr. Dauda Ilia, explained that the measure is part of the state government's strategic response to counter-insurgency operations. It warned that anyone found violating the directive will face the full weight of the law.
Welcome to Sports News. Luton Town have confirmed the exit of former Super Eagles forward Victor Moses following their relegation from the English Championship. Well, the club's relegation was confirmed following a 5-3 defeat to West Brom. Moses joined the second-tier club on a free transfer in September last year after parting ways with Russian outfit Spartak Moscow. The 34-year-old Africa Cup of Nations winner made 18 league appearances for the club with 1 goal to his name. The English Premier League, now relegated Southampton, have claimed a precious point against Manchester City at St Mary's to move past the record low mark of 11 points. The club are now up to 12 points to ensure Derby County's record low from 2007 to 2008 season remains intact for at least another year. More updates from the EPL. Ollie Watkins became Aston Villa's record goal scorer as his winner at Bournemouth helped them boost the Champions League qualification hopes, while Everton dealt a hammer blow to Fulham's hopes of qualifying for Europe by coming from behind to win at Craven Cottage. European hopefuls Brentford defeated already relegated Ipswich Town at Portman Road to make it 4 successive wins, while Brighton maintained their push for a place in Europe next season with a 2-0 win over Wolverhampton Wanderers. Well, let's take you to Spain now, where Barcelona head coach Hansi Flick has called on his players to brush off their Champions League semi-final exit and bounce back strongly against Real Madrid this Sunday in the vital La Liga Clásico at the Olympic Stadium in Catalonia, where Barca lead the Spanish top flight by 4 points ahead of rivals and defending champions Real Madrid with 4 matches remaining. Barcelona have beaten Real Madrid at all 3 Clásicos played this season, and the Catalan Giants have been were handed a boost as Alejandro Balde and Marc Casado were past fit to play after injury. Well, let's stay with the El Clasico for a moment, as Real Madrid coach Carlo Ancelotti believes that the Los Blancos will need to play a complete game if they are to topple rivals Barcelona in Sunday's match. Madrid enter the game 4 points adrift of La Liga leaders Barca, with the Catalans knowing a victory will push them closer to a 28th top-flight crown. The title holders have struggled in recent fixtures against the rivals, losing their last 3 matches against Barca in all competitions this season. The manager says his team can defeat Barca for the first time in 4 clashes this season. And that's your Sports News Tonight. I am Kelly. Giga is back to Melinda.
Many thanks, Kelly. On the international scene, India and Pakistan have accused each other of violations hours after they agreed to a ceasefire following days of cross-border military strikes. After sounds of explosions were heard in the Indian-administered Kashmir, India's Foreign Secretary said there had been repeated violations of understanding arrived at by both nations. A short while later, Pakistan's Foreign Minister explained that it remained committed to the faithful implementation of a ceasefire, despite the violations being committed by India in some areas. European leaders have asked Russia to agree to an unconditional 30-day ceasefire with Ukraine starting on Monday. The call was issued at a meeting of the Coalition of the Willing in Kiev. The leaders of France, Germany, the UK and Poland were hosted by Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky, while others joined virtually. They made the announcement after discussing the plan by phone with US President Donald Trump, who initially raised the idea of an unconditional ceasefire. The leaders threatened Russia with massive sanctions if it does not comply. And the main news again. Northern Governors Forum, Traditional Rulers Council and other concerned groups today met in Kaduna to brainstorm on how to end insecurity in the region. During the meeting, they appealed to the National Assembly to expedite action on state police. That's the news at 10 tonight. I'm Melinda Kinlami on behalf of the team. Good night.